All right, looks like Chicago is going to experiment with one of the largest guaranteed income programs ever tried. All right, we're going to get into that, the details, and what all this means coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, I think universal basic income is very much an experiment. We're in experimental phase right now with UBI, not to be confused with UTI. Very painful. UBI for some people could be painful. For others, it feels like a windfall, or at least a much needed support system. And let's, just air it out in the comments. What do you think? Will we ever get to universal basic income? Do you agree with it? What are your thoughts, pros, cons? I would love to hear it. But to make sure we're all on a level playing field and on the same page, what is universal basic income? Well, check this out. I've got the link in the description as well, includes some pros and cons, but it's basically a government subsidized or government provided basic guaranteed income for either everyone or a certain qualifying segment of the population. If you're eligible, then you'd receive a certain amount. And this idea has been kicked around for a long time. And I part of it being the productivity advances. I'll just share my quick take, okay? And I'm not going to get into my opinions on it. But my quick take is when technology emerged and helped the average worker get significantly more productive, that obviously influenced how many jobs could be created. And so this idea of, well, wait a second, will we ever get so good with technology, so good at automation, that we're going to have a whole bunch of people sitting around not having jobs? And if that's the case, how will they get income? We basically have had some type of universal basic income that we've been trying since the pandemic, okay? And even what's being proposed in Chicago is using pandemic funds to experiment with, to pay out. So, but basically what's been happening is they've been taking, at a national level, they've been taking some tax credits and they've been trying to move those tax credits, instead of having you receive that once a year on your tax return when you file, having it received sporadically throughout the year, either monthly or on an irregular basis. You could even say that the stimulus payments, the 3 stimulus payments, were a form of universal basic income. It just wasn't on a regular basis. It was a tax credit that they paid out in advance, so you didn't have to wait on it. You could argue, okay, that was a sort of experiment with it, although it wasn't a guaranteed monthly amount. What is also an experiment, but is a guaranteed monthly amount, is this advanced child tax credit. This, to me, this is a form of, it's the camel sneaking their nose under the tent of universal basic income. Listen, if you have kids, we're going to give you $300 a month. If you have a certain kid, a certain age, we're going to give you $300 a month. If you have a kid a different age, we're going to give you, $250 a month, something like that. And so, to me, again, that proposal or that law is only in place to the end of 2021, but there's a proposal out there that would extend that. I think they will extend it personally, but that's another form. And then you can check out this article from the Washington Post about what Chicago's doing. And there's other areas, there's other cities across the country that have been using or appropriating some of the COVID relief funds into forms of universal basic income. So let me know, do you agree, disagree? All right, what's Chicago doing? Lori Lightfoot, mayor of Chicago, is proposing this $31 million program to start in 2022, and around 5,000 eligible low-income households would receive $500 a month, okay? And so this would be using COVID relief aid. I think some $2 billion that were received as part of sort of COVID relief aid that would be used and directed towards this purpose. You can read more in the Washington Post article. Again, I've linked it below, but this would be the largest program of universal basic income that we have here in the U.S., which is why, and we're still in the experimental phase anyway with this big idea of universal basic income income, but this would be the largest program. There's several others across the country, some in California as well, that have tried some form of universal basic income. I think LA County even has a $1,000 a month program for a small section of individuals, but not $5,000. So $5,000 low income eligible individuals, eligible households would be receiving this $500 a month. What are your thoughts? You agree? You disagree? Here's my take. The government doesn't have any money, so of course this is some form of redistribution of wealth, which obviously there's some systemic issues with that. At the same time, there is an enormous gap between those that are making progress financially in the U.S. today and those that are struggling to get traction. And so we've got to fix that disparity, but just at its core, I struggle with the directly taking it in tax dollars from some and providing it to others. And it's tricky. This is very, very tricky. So let me know what you think. At least for you, I would tell you, don't rely on governments passing some form of universal basic income. In fact, I've told you, if you can and you're willing to go through the process, I would reject the advance child tax credit. I would opt out of that, so you just get it on an annual basis on your tax return anyway. And I would be working on your skills as well, developing your skills. There are more jobs available today than there are unemployed people in the labor force that are looking for jobs right now. So it's a tricky time to justify universal basic income because jobs seem plentiful. Now there is certainly the question of what type of jobs, what kind of jobs, I know, but void of jobs is taking tax dollars from one area and giving it to other people. Well, it seems like a job would be better than that, but anyway. So I would be pursuing financial independence. Okay, looking at all 6 areas of your financial life and pursuing financial independence as opposed to financial dependency, which is coming from a universal basic income source. But there again, it's got lots of flaws. However, we've got a widening gap between those financially that are getting traction and building wealth and those that are not. We've got to shorten that gap somehow. So are you on the road to financial independence for yourself? Okay, we all probably have strong emotions about these universal basic income various proposals, but are you specifically within your financial life making progress towards achieving financial independence? Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP, you can always find one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.